Well, let me just tell you why we're here. You'll see we started actually before today, but I just want to tell you what we're here. We're here to make healthy ramen. Not healthier ramen, healthy ramen. Start to finish, everything that is going to go into this lovely bowl right here is going to be 100% nourishing. No compromise whatsoever. So we're gonna jump in and get started. Thanks for coming back to my channel, and if you're new here, please hit subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you like our content. Please comment. We answer all of our comments, and definitely look beneath the videos because we often will put some extra tips under there, affiliate links and things like that as our channel grows. So thank you for dropping in. We're gonna jump right on in. So obviously we are making healthy ramen and we're starting with bone broth. So you're going to see how I make bone broth, but please check out our playlist, and we'll put a link up at the top at the end of our video where you can go and check out our slow video, every little detail of how to make bone broth. Inexpensive, healthy, organic, delish. Lots of gelatin. But we did a quick version to do this so you can see that, and that'll be right about now. All right, so I decided we make this like a couple times a week. So I'm going to show you my healthy, gluten-free version of ramen. And of course, you can't make an amazing ramen unless, so this is a full pack of some organic drumsticks. This is the best way to make bone broth. And I've got a very thorough bone broth video I'm going to show you, or I'll put a link to, up at the top and at the bottom of the video, underneath the video. But this is about 5 pounds of drumsticks. I'm going to pop them in here and give them a quick rinse and throw them in my Instapot. And after I get those rinsed and back in the Instapot, we'll be right back. Giving them just a second quick rinse, and then they're going to go straight in my Instapot, and I'm going to add all kinds of goodness, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so here we go. We've got 5+ pounds of organic drumsticks. I'm going to add in my traditional goodness that adds flavor. These are just frozen veggie scraps. These are just some celery pieces that have been thoroughly washed, and onion pieces that have been thoroughly washed. You're going to remove them. We're not going to eat them. And then we're going to add a 1/2 gallon, which is 2 quarts of clean water that I ran through my Berkey. This is a 6-quart Instapot, and we are now going to move it right over here. Rachel's going to follow me as best she can. I'm going to move our cutting board so she has a little bit easier angle. All right, and then we're putting our see-through crock pot lid on, which makes perfect bone broth. And then I'm gonna let her follow us down here. And we are going to put this on the slow cook crock pot setting. Now we're gonna adjust the time to 4.5 hours. That was a pretty big bunch of drumsticks in there. So we want them to be fork tender, and all of that 2 quarts of broth is going to be splendid bone broth for our ramen. And it's starting to count down. All right, guess what we're about to do. My kitchen smells amazing. So again, I have a video link that I'm gonna put above at some point. I'm not sure exactly where. When we edit it, we'll know. To give you my full length how to make chicken bone broth, most cost effective, gelatinous, all the details. But this is the fast forward version. So the steam is amazing, the smell is amazing. It's been a little over 4.5 hours. It was already in the low mode. Everything is fork tender. But I'm going to lift this out very carefully. Let me get a better grip, and we're just going to pour it in carefully. Now, obviously you see all those veggie scraps. That's going to be trash. And the chicken that's in here, that's going to be tomorrow night's supper. We're going to have barbecue chicken. Now, I often, get a better grip, this is pretty hot. I often will take the chicken off the bone and make a second batch of bone broth. And in that video, you will see me do that. Now there's probably about a 1/4 cup left in here. And that chicken will get cooled and I'll debone it. I will not be using it for this recipe for the ramen soup. So what we've got in here, I'm gonna get Rachel to come on in and do a close-up. There wasn't much in here. That was just to capture anything that might slip through. But what we have in here is 2 quarts of amazing bone broth. Right now, this is heaven, just heaven. It needs a pinch of salt and you would be all the way home. But what we're gonna do tomorrow is we're gonna make some amazing healthy ramen. So I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so the way I like to do this is I get my ramen cooking first. So now I told you this was healthy and I really meant it. This is a ramen we have been using for about 8 years. They carry it at Costco in a 12 count. You can get it on Amazon, but you're paying way too much for that. You can get Whole Foods and they've got like 8 different kinds. They're amazing. There's a jade one that's like so good, and there's a black rice one that's great, but this one's really cost effective. It's organic, gluten-free. It's rice, right? You're cooking Asian food, rice makes sense. So I have 2 blocks because that's a typical serving I will do for my older teen who's 18 and 6'5". So I'm gonna get our burner going and I'm gonna put a nice generous pinch of salt, and we're gonna get this boiling and get these al dente. So I do not cook these all the way because what I'm going to do is after this, I'm gonna saute up our veg, and I wanna have these like not quite all the way done. So when I top it with our piping hot bone broth, everything kind of just gets all perfect. So that's how I do it. You can do it any way you wish. So this is what we're gonna do. So we've got this boiling. We're gonna pop these in, and as soon as they're done, we'll be right back. Our water is boiling. It's just salted, clean water, and we're putting in our ramen bricks, cakes, whatever you want to call them. Just popping them in. They are not going to cook long at all. I'm going to actually start a timer so that I can just pay attention to how much time is counting down. So they're not going to cook but about 3 minutes. The package direction says bring them to a rapid boil for a minute and break up the cakes a little, which I will do. Let's see. But I want them, as I said, a little al dente because we want them to finish cooking. And I'm a picky teenager. I guess you can cater to that or not. I do, because I'm happy he's eating my ramen and not the junk that's in the store that's full of nothing good. So anyway, so this has been boiling about a minute, just moving it around a little. Doesn't really take a lot of maintenance, to be honest. So after it cooks and gets where it's breaking up a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and ladle it into our bowl, let it sit there. It's actually gonna cool down a little bit. So when we pull these out, we'll be right back. All right, so these have been simmering at a gentle simmer. I'm gonna turn this off for about 3 minutes. They are, like I said, al dente. I just use tongs to take them out. There's one cake, and the other one's going right on top. And I could have cooked them a little longer if I had everything kind of ready, you know what I'm saying. So the noodles are now waiting on me. And they're nice and steamy and hot right now. They'll be fine, trust me. Once we do the reheat, they're perfect. So I'm gonna dispose of this. We're gonna put the skillet on. I'm gonna go ahead and cook up our wild-caught shrimp and get those laid on, and we're just gonna lay it all on, and then final thing, we'll put our bone broth on and give it all a nice gentle reheat, and which just reheats it by adding the hot broth on, and then we will put our ramenegg on and we'll give it a taste. So we're gonna jump right in and get this going. Be right back. Okay, so I'm getting my skillet hot, just putting some clean ghee in there, about a generous tablespoon. Whatever is left in there is going to be used to cook my veggies. So that's why we're doing our shrimp first. And sometimes I'll get some really good quality beef and I'll freeze it, slice it super thin, and that'll be the protein that I add to this. But today, we're doing wild-caught shrimp. So it is coming to the heat, just about there. And we are gonna, let me move this too so you can see what we're up to. So the shrimp are going in, and these have been rinsed, actually rinsed with a little salty water, and then towel dried, because you get a little bit of color on them and you get a little caramelization when you make sure that all of your proteins that you're cooking are dry. All right, so we're gonna let those get going. We'll put that out of our way. We're just gonna let them cook and get a little color on one side. When I turn them over, I'm just gonna touch of salt and pepper on, and then they're going to go right into the ramen bowl. And I wait until they get a nice pink color and they start curling up a little. That tells you they are pretty much done. It takes like just a couple of minutes to cook shrimp. Turn that down just a little. Salt, a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. And they are just about there. Give them just a little bit longer. I think we're almost there. So I'm going to take my tongs and we're placing these on top of our ramen. And we're just building a pile of beauty is what we're doing. Now the goal is to be able to see all this beauty after we put our broth on, which that's what I'm planning on you doing. All right, so there's that. Isn't that pretty? That's looking good. All right, so what we're gonna do now, the pan is still hot, I've turned it off, but we're gonna get started with chopping our veg. So we're gonna do Swiss chard and zucchini this time. We change. We will often do bok choy or Napa cabbage. We always do some green onions, and we will cut those up. We'll leave the thyme's gonna go on last, and that'll just stay raw. Let's stick those over here so I remember what we're doing. All right, so this is how I cut zucchini for a stir fry. We just kind of do a little julienne action. And I try to keep them pretty thin. Now, not everybody likes zucchini and ramen. We do. We love it year round. We love zucchini, whether we're growing it in the garden or not. So my girls, now actually my youngest didn't like it, but she's grown to like it, but my other two adore it. All right, that should be good and hot. Yep, there's our sizzle. Probably not going to do the whole one because we're just doing one bowl of ramen. Now normally I'm not doing, let's see, where did I put my spoon? Underneath my green onion. Normally I am totally doing more than one bowl of ramen. So let's do about another couple inches here. I am going to watch what I'm doing. I'd love to look at y'all while I'm chopping, but that is not happening. All right, that's about it. The rest of that we'll save for something else yummy. It will never go to waste. Okay, the other thing we've been adding lately is our garden is exploding with Swiss chard. And Swiss chard acts very much like spinach. These have already been rinsed. I just kept them in a little container. Let's see. I kept them in a little container of water just to kind of keep them crisp and pretty and bright for y'all. Now I am going to season as I go. That's how I cook. I've always cooked that way. And put a tiny bit of salt because we're going to have some salty things that are added at the end. Okay, that's about there. Now this is going to add some liquid to it. We're going to take the stems and not actually add those with this recipe. I typically will cut them up ahead of time. Let me turn this down a little. And I will saute them first, but not with ramen. So I'm going to take all our stems off. And then I'm just going to roll them up. And we're just going to chop them up. And they are going to wilt like in about 1 minute. They take hardly no time at all to cook. And I want them kind of bright and green and tender. All right, we're getting closer to the stems. I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to get one little chop here, just so that they're not stringy. We're adding this in, and then we're going to turn that back up. And I'm going to put a little of the white green onion there at the back, at the base, your root. And put a little bit of that in to let that get cooking. And that's just going to add some more beautiful notes of flavor. All right, that's going to go in. And then last but not least is some garlic and some ginger. Try not to make a mess over here. Okay, so with the ginger, the way that you do ginger is you scrape it to get Now we've got ginger in our marinated egg, so we're not going to go overboard with this because we don't want ginger screaming, but I love ginger. You honestly, for me, cannot overboard with ginger. And we are going to use a coarse microplane. And I do give this a little bit of a cook, not much, so it's not raw and fiery and bitey. A little bit more of those onions there. And then last but not least, turn that off. And I think I'm gonna, oh my gosh, this smells so heavenly. I'm gonna ladle a little bit of our bone broth in to deglaze. And that will help our garlic cook super easy. I already got my garlic out. And I'm using a fine microplane because I don't want a big chunk of garlic jumping at you. So there's one, and there's the other. That right there you could just put on a plate and go to town. But we are not. We're going to put it on top of our lovely ramen. So this is just about done. Let's get that garlic about 1 more minute. Put this on a little bit lower. These little things are awesome. We use this camping and I use it on videos. Okay. Oh my gosh. The smells in this kitchen are amazing. Okay, so that is about to go on top. I'm gonna use my tongs so I can stack it and make it pretty. And that's gonna go right there in a nice mound of goodness. Divine, delish. All right, let's get this out of our way. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is bring our bone broth up here. And when you're doing bone broth, you do not want it to come to a hard boil. A gentle simmer is all we are after. Okay, so our green chives and our cilantro are going to be a garnish on top. They're just going on raw. You can do whatever you enjoy. These have already been washed. I'm just going to get them ready while our bone broth is coming to a boil. Now, my kids love citrus on top. I like gentle citrus on top of my ramen. I don't like a ton. My beautiful Rachel, who is our videographer and editor for Midwest Meanderings, she would do a whole lemon on top. Seriously, I am not kidding, not joking. Like, unplugged, the girl is just like a citrusaholic. Okay, so that's gonna be our garnish. Gonna put that over here. Now, I have a little wad of, we just have chives coming out our ears. So I've just got a little bundle that I'm gonna toss into the bone broth, just to add a little bit of flavor. We'll pull that out. That's not gonna go into the soup. Okay, and then we've got cilantro. Now, not everybody wants cilantro raw. Some people just hate cilantro. I adore cilantro. I grow it all over my garden. Every week during the beginning of summer, I sprinkle a whole pack of cilantro seeds. And then the next week, I do the same thing, and I just love it. I let it go to bolt and go to seed, and then what will happen is the cilantro comes back pretty much from there on in on its own. So let me see if I can keep working tidy. Okay, so these are our garnishes. And then of course, Rachel's eyeing me. She's like, do not forget the lemon. So we will cut this and have it ready for Rachel to squeeze on the ramen when she gets ready to eat this. And I might go ahead and just pull out that seed, and we will put the rest down here out of our way. And I think we have covered just about everything. So we're just waiting. Oh yeah, it's looking good. It's just about to come to heat. I feel the lid getting a little bit warm. Okay, so let me tell you one other thing I do, or maybe not one. This is gonna be more than a one. So I've been making my kids healthy ramen, ooh, that's piping hot, for 8 years. I weaned them off of the junk. Now, I didn't buy the junk. I bought the gluten-free kind from Whole Foods. But if you read the ingredient list, it's junk. It's not the worst junk on the planet, but it's junk. Okay, so this is one of my favorite things. Now, this is what you're gonna add your salt with. So that's why my bone broth is completely unsalted. It came out of the pot unsalted, it stays unsalted. So I'm going to take a clean spoon, and for one bowl, one person, one serving, I'm gonna take about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon, and I'm going to paint the bowl. Now this bowl's black, isn't it pretty? so you're not really going to see it. But it's fermented red miso paste. It is divine. It adds so much flavor, and it salts it, but it's a healthy salt. So I get this from Whole Foods, but I've also been able to get it on Amazon at a good price when sometimes Whole Foods doesn't have it in. When I buy that container, it lasts me a year, but it is so good. It adds so much flavor. Okay, so we got that in. Let's see, am I forgetting anything? Oh, so this is our beloved ramenegg. It's my new favorite recipe, and I actually tweaked this one. It's one that I found online, but I added ginger because we love ginger, we love ginger, we love ginger. So I'm gonna get our ramenegg out. I'm not gonna cut it yet because I wanna have everything ready. Let's just take a peek. Yep, almost there. And we'll turn that down just a little so it doesn't get to a boil. Okay, so this is the ramenegg. Hallelujah, it's so beautiful. It's a soft boiled egg, and these are eggs from our backyard garden. It's been marinating for 24 hours in all this ridiculous goodness right here. Like so unbelievably delicious. So that's actually gonna be a garnish too. And then it's adding protein. So the protein in your bone broth, the protein in your egg, and then the protein in your wild caught lovely shrimp. I mean, this is a feast that will last you for hours, and it will be so, so nourishing. All right, so broth is, no, not quite yet. See, it's starting to steam. All the fat beads are melted. We're gonna let it go a little bit longer. I will put these last garnishes on last. I'm looking to see if I forgot anything. I think I got it all in here. My gosh, I'm ready to jump in right now. This is like so gorgeous. Beautiful, we're painting with food. Okay, don't lose your chives, Holly. Now, we have wimps in our house, serious wimps. Then we have people that are cilantro addicts. That would be me. So I just make a very simple cilantro oil. I put a whole head of cilantro in my blender, not the stems, washed, and then I just cover it to where it's just above the blades. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of garlic in. We're there, I see the steam. Okay, I'm gonna leave that hot, it's off. Anyway, cilantro oil drizzled on top. Oh, it's so good. Now, this will keep in my fridge longer than cilantro will keep in my fridge. So today, we're gonna use fresh cilantro, not the oil. You could do both and do no wrong. Cilantro is so good for you. Okay, so the other thing, again, we have serious wimps in this house. I would be that girl, but I could do this. So this is just a chili oil we made. We took, you can do all kinds of things. You do crushed pepper flakes. We just did cayenne pepper and a good oil, let it come to a gentle simmer, and then let it cool, pull it off, and there you go. So this is how you heat this up. You could obviously put some fresh jalapenos in here, fresh chilies in here to heat it up. We've got the marinade. I pulled off some before we put our eggs in. This marinade is divine. Oh my goodness. So this is going in as a seasoner, flavor enhancer, but it is so good. So we're putting that in right now, and I'm putting all of it in. Now that has jalapenos, so if you got somebody in your family can't handle heat, you are not gonna put that in. We put that on some sticky rice. Well, it's not really technically sticky rice because we were out of sticky rice, but we put that on our rice before we put our ramen egg on top, on our how to make a ramen egg video. And oh my gosh, it was beyond delicious. Okay, so our lovely little chives was in there adding some good onion flavor. I'm gonna just fish that out so I don't have to fight it. And we are about to finish this divine meal, healthy ramen by Holly. 8 years in the making. So the bone broth is getting ladled on, and I'm not wanting to disturb the beauty, okay? We are painting with our food. Yes, you can play and paint in the kitchen. And I don't know if we can get me pouring it. Okay, that's about as far up as we're gonna go. Maybe just a tad more. Okay, oh, glory to God. He likes food too, you know what I'm saying? He likes things beautiful. Okay, now here's Holly's cilantro because she loves cilantro. And then here's our gorgeous chives right from the garden. And then, to It's kind of like Rocky, right? And we're gonna just put our wedge of our lemon here because I know Rachel's going to come back and get more to put it in. And we're going to get our sharp knife. You need a sharp knife for this. Okay, so we have a soft boiled Korean marinated ramenegg. Isn't that pretty? Seriously, y'all, we are about to have a feast. Isn't that lovely? Oh my goodness. Just a few green onions there just because it's beautiful and we should do this. So I'm going to give you a lovely close-up right about now. Here we go. We've got to give this a taste. Now, I haven't already admitted this publicly, but I am not fantastic with chopsticks. I'm decent with them. My 18-year-old, who was going to be my taster, oh, we do need to put a little dab of this. Not on the ramen eggs, they don't need it. And we're going to give this a taste. So, oh my goodness. Come on, beautiness. Yes, you are gorgeous. Oh, do I want a shrimp too? Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, that marinade that we added in as our sauce. Oh my gosh, okay. And the ramen egg, come on, with our bone broth on top. I don't know, I just might keep eating, y'all. We want to make this. Seriously. All right, make it. Come back, give us a comment below. Tell us how amazing it was in your house. Thank you for coming by my channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for giving us some comments and a like and a share. Please share our videos and help our channel grow. And we can do more of this lovely content. Thank you for dropping by, and God bless you.